1st, 2nd and 3rd John. Introduction. There are two sorts of letter in the New Testament. Some are general or circular letters with no specific recipients, rather like tracts. Others are personal, reflecting what the readers needed to hear. John's letters are a mixture of the two. His first is general, and at 5 chapters is much longer than the others, as John addresses particular concerns that he has for the believers. The 2nd and 3rd are more personal and are the shortest books in the New Testament. In these, John addresses 2 separate individuals using just 1 sheet of papyrus for each. The letters are warm and personal, reflecting the character of this saint, who is now probably in his 80s. Some call them fatherly letters, but given his age, grandfatherly might be a more appropriate description. They were written at a time when the church was being affected for good or ill by travelling Bible teachers. John is very concerned about the damage that some are causing, but is too elderly to travel. Unlike the false teachers, who it seems are able to promote their heresy with considerable vigour. Hence these letters were his best way of addressing the problem. John was one of the 12 apostles called by Jesus during his earthly ministry, and the only one to live to an old age. Extra-biblical records state that he looked after Mary, the mother of Jesus, in Ephesus until she died. He too died there. His letters breathe with the authority not just of an elder, but of the elder, for here is one who has had a personal contact with Christ. Some Bible scholars argue that the Apostle John did not write the letters. It is certainly a surprise that there are not more references to the Old Testament than a single reference to Cain, killing Abel, especially as the book of Revelation, also by John, has over 300 allusions. But when you compare the letters to John's Gospel, they have the same style and vocabulary. Expressions found in the Gospel such as eternal life, new commandment, and remain in Christ, which are special to John, are also in the letters, and in some cases identical phrases are found. For example, walking in darkness, and that your joy may be full. Furthermore, both the Gospel and the letters describe the Christian life with absolute contrast. John's assessment of the world is in sharp contrast to the modern vogue of relativism, which believes that distinctions are inappropriate, nothing is true or false, everything is just an opinion. John and the rest of the Bible stand against this view. John draws a number of contrasts: life and death, light and darkness, truth and lies, love and hate, righteousness and lawlessness, children of God and children of Satan, love of the Father and love of the world, Christ and Antichrist, and the biggest contrast of all, heaven and hell. Such opposites give no room for a third way. You are either one or the other, and there are no further options. So although there is no name on the manuscripts, internal evidence points strongly to John as the author. Furthermore, Irenaeus and Papias, 2 early church fathers, confirms that the letters came from John's pen. There is no date given, but it seems likely that the letters were written after John's Gospel and before John's exile on Patmos, where he wrote the book of Revelation. There is no reference to Domitian's terrible attacks on the church, which came in AD 95, so a date of around AD 90 is likely.